Good evening, Aditya sir.
Good evening, everyone in the house.
Welcome to the Teachers Academy. We thought before we get started, you and me should meet and try and answer this question why we are here together today. As you're my host, I think you should come in first. Thank you, sir. Thank you for hosting us. Jugjeev is with us. I have Manisha also with us. These are my love mates, my friends, my co-conspirators in this, what do you call, crime fiction we are trying to do at my good school. Whether we are winning hearts or we are killing hearts, it's up to you to decide. Over to you, sir.
Right, it's absolutely a pleasure and a privilege actually to be on this platform. Have seen a lot, I've heard a lot, but had never had a first-hand experience of what is it like, and I'm really looking forward to not just this session, but also what the future lies in terms of this transaction today. And picking up a word from the book that we are reading, something which was mentioned, I believe, in the second chapter, that education should be transformational. And I think so, Sandeep ji, you and your conspirators, and if the conspirators and you can weave such a magic in the field of education, we will all love to be conspirators to this cause. So be it. Thank you so much. It's a privilege for me to be part of it. And as you said, it's an honor for Sunbeam to be associated with the lovely work that your organization is doing, that you, Jugjeet ji, Manisha ji, and everyone is doing. And my children are also indeed very, very happy, privileged, and enriched by everything that you have offered to Sunbeam as on date.
Thank, thank you, sir. Thank you for having us over. And I'm sure Jugjeev, who's not here just now, is regretting why he chose not to be here. Anyway, I wish him good luck. He's always on the road. You can see he's in the car. He's so committed. He's driving and listening to us. So I think I should attempt to look at the road ahead and not just think of the man in the future, because for him, the road ahead is equally important. I only have one small thing to add. Sunbeam makes you work very, very hard. This is my session 4 for today. So I told Aditya, if I pause, please read on. That's one apology I give to everyone. And second beautiful thing was when I was walking into this room, outside the room, they made me sign a portrait. Now I don't know why they make you sign your own portrait because I can't draw for nuts anyway. So anyway, I signed there, and when I wrote the date there, it said 14 12 2024. A lot of twos and fours in it, great. But on this day, I was conceptualized. And that hit everyone. That what does conceptualize mean? Some people think of conceived, some people think of born, some people think birthday. But I said on this day I was conceptualized. Now that I'm in a teacher's academy, I wanted to explain what conceptualized means to the teachers. And the story is very simple. 14 December is the marriage anniversary of my parents. So which means when they were married in the year 1960, 1960, perhaps that's where the concept of Sandeep Dutt was thought of. Yes, the design of Sandeep Dutt happened and Sandeep Dutt arrived later, but it's the concept that matters. And that's what I love at the Sunbeam School. Their concepts are clear. And that's why we are here to find out who is this man who saw tomorrow. Gratitude to all the schools at Good School Alliance who are chasing the man who saw tomorrow. But remember one thing, if you chase him, you will not see tomorrow. He has brought you so far, and now you have to make him chase you. It's your turn to carry the relay ahead. It's your turn to read. That's the first thing. It's your turn to reflect. And yes, it's our turn to build relationships that can build a better world, a better future. And this is only possible with the joy of giving. So thanks to Paul sir who made this program for this trip. He's a very hard task master. संदीप यहाँ 8 घंटे के लिए 10 घंटे भगाओ इसको एक स्कूल से भगाओ दूसरे में भगाओ यहाँ वर्कशॉप कराओ. Now I know why he's successful at the helm of the Sunbeam's QC team. He makes everyone work. And this is what India needs. You need men like Paul who can make us work. Hats off to Shomi Das, whose spirit we live today. Hats off to you, Aditya sir and Paul sir, for making this possible. And yes, a special regard for all the teachers, whom I wish I could hug all of them here. But my hugs to all of you, including my team, Gurdeep, Manisha, Kunal, if I can spot him somewhere, and all those who make my good school alive. Kunal, just half a second more because we're running out of time. I want to thank you. We have shared your joy of giving, and to celebrate what you taught us at the last retreat, the interns who were there at the My Good School retreat will tomorrow go with me to the third school where Mr. Paul has wanting us to take a session, and they will do the session, and I will be a spectator. So we have, and we want to see that what the children have learned or what impact we've had on them. It'll come alive tomorrow evening at Sunbeam Varuna. So we are hopeful those students will get permission, Paul sir, from Leher to join me at Varuna. Thank you, Paul sir. You want a minute, Paul sir, before we go ahead?
Jai Hind, Sandeep sir, and Jai Hind all the participants. I am here in Delhi. I just finished the conference, and I am really happy to join. And thank you for coming to Sunbeam, especially to Sunbeam Lehartara, and launching this program from Sunbeam campus. Over to you, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Paul sir. We're on YouTube Live. For the people who are on YouTube Live, you're missing all the action. You better join the Teachers Academy. That's the only place where action is in India. It's the place where India has to look up to. Just 7 years back, the World Bank saw us as a global innovation. And the interesting part is India doesn't see us even today. So that's the anomaly. That's the paradox we live in. We all have something to build the nation. So together, let's see what the man who saw tomorrow did in his life. Manisha ma'am, over to you.
Sir, please give me access. Good evening, everyone. A very warm welcome to the Teachers Academy. And today we'll be reading chapter 5. Sir,
yeah, we have access. Would you like to share the book, ma'am? Yeah, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Shomi Das, the man who saw tomorrow. System reset. Last week, we saw a broken system. And the broken system is beautifully reflected on our happyteachers.in blog. Do refer to that. That was chapter 4. Reading on chapter 5, system reset. What we have seen in the previous chapter is that the problems that ail the education system in India are clear and many. The solutions, definitely not clear and very definitely not many. The primary problem that has been identified by most educators, though, is the sheer number of students and hence the pressure on teachers. Show Me too acknowledges the pressure on teaching staff, but feels that more can definitely be done. In India, he says teacher training is nothing more than transacting a subject in a classroom. Yes, an imaginative teacher does all they can to make a class interesting. But look at what is taught in the B.Ed course. A lot of theories. How is that going to help a teacher? Teachers, Show Me believes, need to learn how to interact with children. There are so many skills one needs to learn, and these cannot be taught in B.Ed. In a B.Ed college, sorry. I, for one, never studied B.Ed. I stand in front of you. No school would give me a job. Like Show Me's story. Well, Show Me was an educationist. I'm aspiring to be one. Maybe I'm born a teacher next life. I'll be grateful to God. You can learn these skills only through actual classroom teaching. I'm sure I'm right with the audience here. I'm sure your learning has been through your classroom teaching. There was very little you got from a system, but you are building a system. And that's why the chapter is System Reset. Have been a part of the education sector. I've come to agree with what Show Me says. Of course, B.Ed courses do have classroom teaching, but many focus is on theories, what they call lesson plans. Do you think teacher training should be done away with? Question to you. I asked, show me. It was another of those freewheeling conversations we regularly had. Our germination pool of ideas, as we used to call them. Shomi's reply was not what I had expected. Not at all, he said. In fact, I believe that students should be taught to by teachers right after they finish class 12, not after graduation. That is, those who are interested in taking up teaching as a profession, a 4-year degree in teaching would produce a stream of good teachers. Then you can get a multiplier effect. Shomi has always felt that the government should take the lead in producing teachers, especially now in the context of the new education policy, and then seek the help of the private sector in setting up teacher training institutes. I'm sure you all with us at the Teachers Academy. We are trying to build an institution with your support. How would that work? I asked. His answer was emphatic. I have long thought that what certainly is required is a cadre of dedicated soldiers in education. Look at the beautiful phrase he used, cadre of dedicated soldiers in education. My dear teachers, you are soldiers in education. That's your role. A soldier on the battlefront will not think what my salary is. A soldier on the battlefront will not hesitate to do what he has to do with duty, devotion, and dedication. Individuals who are committed to teaching in the true sense of the word, and I wish we had a cadre as large as the Indian Army. The Army preserves the integrity of our country. I feel that another way of preserving the integrity of our country is to have a cadre of teachers of uniform quality who would be committed to imparting holistic education to children. Aditya sir, what do you think of this idea?
When you were reading, what I was thinking of is the fact that possibly teaching, it's a very important profession, but teaching is the only profession where people come more of chance than by choice. Okay. And then when this beautiful sentence you highlighted, dedicated soldiers in education, I would also, I'm sharing my experience, is possibly we as teachers don't take enough pride in our profession. If we start taking pride in our profession and we become ideal role models, that there'll be more chances of students seeking to be a teacher or going into the profession of education. Today, if I walk into a KG section and if I ask the children, how many of you would like to become teachers? I'll see a lot of hands going up. When I go to classes 3, 4, 5, probably a few. 6 to 8, maybe 1 or 2. 9 to 12, none. And that's what teachers do.
The challenge.
Yeah.
So you said it beautifully here. Sorry, I'm kind of coming in because I'm marshalling time. Let's read the next paragraph and see how it will make your heart flutter. Shomi's point is simple. With good teachers, one does not need a school building, Aditya sir. Because good teachers, he feels, can teach even under a tree if need be. This is what Captain Bajaj says. I'm sure, Aditya, you met Captain Bajaj. Captain Bajaj is the same Captain Bajaj who started Oak Ridge and is there at Pathways today. One of the most significant things that Shomi taught me was the importance of teacher training. Teacher training at the individual school level, not qualifications. Can someone help us with this person to go on mute? I'm sorry about that. Please help us, Manisha Khanna. Yeah, please mute Reena from Arthur Food Academy. Sorry, I'm putting that up. Yeah, sorry. This is what Captain Bajaj says. One of the most significant things that Shomi taught me was the importance of teacher training. Teacher training at the individual school level, not qualifications. You must remember that while IB doesn't require academic credentials such as B.Ed and M.Ed, CBSE requires them, and compliance must be achieved. Now I'm going to refer to what Aditya just said, that attitude is all he looks for. And he spoke of a reference to an earlier chapter in this book. Attitude and gratitude make us, and that's a teacher. It's not B.Ed, it's not M.Ed, it's not what CBSE says. Teachers don't exist because CBSE says so. Teachers don't exist because there is a system which is already broken. And it's very, very unfortunate that we have to today debate and talk of all these things. But that is the hard reality. Where do you find these teachers with attitude? But then probably the main problem the system faces is that teaching is almost never a first choice. Aditya sir, you let the cat out as a profession. Shomi had agreed and sounded almost wistful. Yes, unfortunately, education does not attract the very best as it should. I wish I could attract young people to teaching the way they were attracted to engineering, medicine, banking, or even services. If education could attract people like that, we would, within a very short space of time, perhaps even in one generation, improve the quality of life in India. This is where the government needs to step in. I'll take a pause here for the last 2 days. We have been doing this exercise at the Sunbeam Schools, where the schools have participated in what is, for me, it's historic because we did Youth Engaging Society version 1 on 12th, and on 13th, we did Youth Engaging Society version 2. The process was very simple. We had a sample of 300 people. We limited the 300 to groups of 7 and 8, and I said 7 is one body, and we asked that one body to become something. And out of 33 total groups, we only had one which aspired to become a teacher, and they ran away before the presentation time came. So that's the story. I think at this point, Aditya and Paul, we are here. Possibly, this is where you have to bring the teachers in and perhaps ask them, why are they shy of what they are doing? That's my question to the teachers for reflection today. Why can't you say, गर्व से कहो मैं doctor हूँ या गर्व से कहो मैं सैनिक हूँ? Teacher pride is the only missing thing in the country. And you hear success stories about a teacher swimming rivers to teach, a teacher walking miles to teach. It feels very good to get those stories. But the lesson behind that is, how do you translate that story for children? And believe me, teachers travel with you all your life. Please read this chapter in My Good School. This is about some years back. And you will understand where we can correct this, Aditya. So the small chapter, teachers travel with you all your lives. With what I had asked, policies that enable the creation of good teachers, he replied. Now, you know why Shomi has constantly iterated the need for an educational services. If teachers are produced like we produce our officers in the services, it will attach prestige to the profession. No wonder everyone wants to become doctor and engineer and civil services servant in our school here. That's what we discovered last 2 days. Pay and perks will follow. Only then will the best even consider teaching an option. Today, because of low pay scales, or what in economics is called pay scale distortion, teaching is mostly left to women because a woman's income is still largely the second income in a family. It is important to make teaching an option that anyone can consider as a primary or a single source of income as well. Aditya sir, would you like to read?
Sure. Just tell me where you want me to stop so that you can take the discussion.
You can complete a balance of genders.
Sure. Right. A balance of genders. According to data in the private sector, more than 2/3 of all teachers are women. And I think it's reflected across all our schools. This imbalance is mostly visible in elementary and middle schools. But is that a bad thing? Is the next logical question. It's not bad, but it's not ideal either. Shomi says he believes that teaching, like anything else, needs a balance of the sexes because children need to see professions as gender neutral in order to make the world more equitable. And in any case, he feels any balanced situation requires the presence and involvement of both sexes. Uh, this is why he battled to recruit women teachers when he helmed Doon and was responsible for getting the first women teachers into the grand old school. In his words, in my co-ed schools in Sanar, for instance, I had men and women of equal numbers. But Doon, possibly because it's an all-boys school, they were mostly men till I started taking women as teachers. Now, there are quite a few women teachers. You need to have both sexes. They bring different perspectives to the table. Very briefly, we had discussed about salary. So, what does he say about salary? It's amazing that he always fought against pay scale distortion in his engagements as a school administrator because he himself had gone through that journey. He was paid £300 for the entire year when he was in Gordonstone, Scotland. £300 for the entire year, broken into two installments of £150, which was paid on the 1st of January, and another £150 on the 1st of June. Now, that was okay, but they were given free boarding and free fooding. But Gordonstone ran for only 8 months. And for the 4 months that the school was not running, he had to fend on his own. So that was not easy, definitely. Fortunately, he had a good bank manager, a family friend who allowed him certain amount of overdraft, nothing else, right? Just certain amount of overdraft. And in those days, bank statements were handwritten. So if they had used the black ink, that means you had money in bank, and a red ink entry would mean there are no money. And possibly, if you have heard in the red, that's where the idiom comes from. So if something is in the red, that means you are on negative balance, you have no money. Shomi had explained, even the teacher. Well, the bank manager must have been a very nice man. I had interrupted smiling. Oh, yes, Shomi replied, refusing to take the bait. One day he wrote to me saying, Dear Mr. Das, you really must look at the color of the ink on your statement. It makes all the difference between poverty and riches. That idea stuck. That was particularly a very good advice, but I could not do anything about it. You cannot live that kind of penury-stricken existence. Should I continue? We have a minute to discuss.
Please go ahead.
Thank you. In fact, the reason, and again, this when I read, it was actually amazing. The reason for his separation from Myo was the school's refusal. It had nothing to do with his salary. It was the school's refusal to pay the teachers what Shomi thought was the basic minimum. He resigned from Mayo because he thought that the teachers under him were not being paid enough. When I transferred to Mayo, some senior teachers were being paid only rupees 250. I had come with a huge salary of whopping rupees 2,000. My vice principal, Mr. Danville Mathur, was not getting even half that amount. He had been in the school for close to half a century. I took that matter up, but I left Mayo because I could not convince the board. So
Take a pause here. Take a pause here. Just reflect the power of the teacher. Little while back, what did we talk of? Teacher relationship. Aditya, I brought up a very interesting conversation. I've been here all day, so viewers won't know here. So I was talking to teachers and I gave them a very simple hypothesis of teachers. So if you see a system, and this goes very well at this point in the book, about 10 years back, working across 12 schools in the country, we tried to find out what are happy teachers. Very vague exercise, very random exercise. And the summary of the exercise is very simple. There are 4 relationship strands and stakeholders in a school. The first strand, teacher and student. If that is strong, there is joy. The second strand, teacher and community. Community includes parents, ex-students, and the ecosystem around the school. If that is strong, there is joy. The third strand, teacher and management. If that is strong, there is joy. The fourth strand, it's hard to guess, but it is teacher and teacher. So the 4 interesting strings of knitting together a powerful school ready for tomorrow is where teacher, student, teacher, community, teacher, management, teacher, teacher. I said 5 times teacher, and just once did I mention the other stakeholders. That's the power of a teacher, and that's what you see in Show Me. This is a beautiful presentation on happyteacher.in. You can see it there, or on schooleducation.com. It's there also. So this is I would say, the foundation on which we started building the Teachers Academy. It has to be teachers first. We made it simple, #happyteachers. My dear Khushi, my media specialist, says we shouldn't have so many hashtags. But I said there's so many things we have to do, for everything need a hashtag. Thank you, Khushi. So Rahul Jacob recounted an incident that occurred in relation to Show Me's exit from Mayo, and which speaks of the lifelong impact Show Me has had on building character. Character is one of the 6 competencies we talk about every day at my good school. It seems that when students at Mayo came to know about his resignation, the senior batch went on a strike of sorts. But what was truly lovely is that Show Me called them in, and instead of expressing gratitude, he insisted that their parents were paying the school for their studies, not for them to indulge in strikes. There was absolutely no spite in him. It was remarkable that even in leaving, he taught all of us such a valuable lesson. Aditya, I am proud to have had Show Me as my mentor, and Show Me only mentioned one thing to me, which I have a podcast. I recorded a podcast with Show Me. I had the fortune of talking to him. I had the fortune of Show Me come and bless my daughter on her wedding. So Show Me only said one thing, Sandeep, we both belong to the same school. And only one thing the school taught us, learning to learn. And this, I think, is a brilliant example of learning to learn, where he is with the students and how beautifully he's told them why the purpose of their being in school is. Do you agree with this, Aditya?
Absolutely.
And you brought this up in our conversation a little while ago. It's
Yeah.
remarkable, absolutely. Coming back to the question of pay, and as you're an admin, I think it's good talking pays with you. Teachers at Doon had been getting pretty much the same salary for over 20 years, about 8,000 a month before Show Me joined. But Show Me kept fighting for pay parity. And by the time he retired, senior teachers were earning close to 1 lakh, which was very good in those times. And we are almost reaching 2.5, 3 lakhs today. I'm adding from the Doon School's perspective. Sorry about this, Aditya, but I thought I need to mention this. I champion the school, I wear the school. As an entrepreneur myself, my question to Show Me has always been how entrepreneurs or the public sector can help with this. What does the education sector need from entrepreneurs? As a part of the partnership that built Oak Ridge, we have lived this process of need and supply. We have done our best to establish a near ideal school where Show Me could bring all the ideas to fruition. Look at the word he's used so beautifully, giving fruit. The economics of education. So we move along, Aditya. Your business model is put at test now. The economics of education. It is always interested to look back on our conversations about this. Also, having run 3 residential schools of the scale of Mayo, Sanar, and Doon, Shomi understands the economics of the sector all too well. He recognizes that entrepreneurs need projects with the possibility of cash inflow. But he has a legitimate concern, which he expressed very well. From my personal experience, I'm afraid a lot of entrepreneurs run schools solely to earn money, and the whole sector gets a bad name. It is imperative to make a profit. For the simple reason that without money, an institution cannot function smoothly. One has to maintain the infrastructure, pay salaries to the staff, and so on and so forth. But in educational entrepreneurship, money cannot and must not be everything. This is food for thought, Manisha. Please highlight this. But in an education entrepreneurship, look, he's calling it entrepreneurship, Aditya. How nice. It's not giving or it's not running a school or it's like philanthropy. He's calling it entrepreneurship. And I think that's very high regard when you accept school as an entrepreneurship. And then no one better than Shomi, who's worked both sides. Very few get this chance. On one day, you are a recipient of a teacher's salary, and next day, you're one person to set the teacher's salary. I agree completely. Both Raj and Raj is a partner with Naga, the author of the book. Both Raj and I were conscious about this with Oak Ridge. We did our best to balance child-centered education and business imperatives. We believed that business imperatives were necessary for the benefit of students. Schools have to be run business-wise. I must appreciate here at a pause, Aditya. I love the way you people manage your schools, from the Grameen school to Sun City to Varuna to the legendary Bhagwanpur. High regard. And I do carry the brightness of Sunbeam in my heart. Thank you for showing me the inside of your business model and for feeling that empathy with the teachers. I know this may sound like flattery because I'm sitting here and eating and talking about what I'm getting. But I think that's gratitude and attitude and appreciation all put together. Thank you for having us here. This was a good time before everyone runs away that I say my thank you here. Without money, one cannot upgrade facilities or create a conducive environment to facilitate learning. Ask Shomi about the way business has handled at Oak Ridge, and this is what he will say. NP is Naga Prasada, and Raj were conscious of the fact that teachers had to be paid well. And that was one of the things that got them into trouble. They had to borrow money and take big loans, but they could not charge a higher fee. What necessitates charging high fees? First, of course, is the capital cost of building the school. When establishing a new school, one cannot spread the cost over 7 to 8 years. One has to add classrooms and improve facilities altogether. So one constant balancing act that was caused by Shomi's mandate and our acceptance of that mandate was finding a good teacher-student ratio, which we maintained at 1:10. We fixed the class size at 25, plus 2 children of staff members in each class. And this ratio was strictly maintained. Yet, when you need money, you need students. The more the number of students packed in a class, the greater the money earned. This is always a conflict for which there is no straightforward solution. Then we had to pay teachers who taught dance, painting, swimming, sports, and other activities. Just give me a pause. Then we had to pay teachers who taught dance, painting, swimming, sports, and other activities. Students had to take part in these activities, but from the exam point of view, these are secondary. So again, what's the solution? Actually, there isn't any clear-cut solution. As far as Shomi, questions such as these are the conflicts of entrepreneurs face and have to handle. The optimal balance will lie in the intent. You want to comment here, Aditya?
Yeah, very true. But what I'm happy about is, now people who are into the business of school, if I may use the word, are called edupreneurs, and that sounds really good. At least the education precedes anything which has to do with money.
So that's an interesting point, Aditya. So when you look around today and you see what's happening, Fiki Arise, you see TIC, you see what School News does, you see what Education World does. The biggest service they have done is to recognize education as an enterprise. So hats off to these people, whoever they are doing as business. Yes, they are doing it as a legitimate business. What they do, maybe PR you may call it, but I think they are actually doing advocacy for our sector. And that I think is very crucial for raising the spirit and the bar of a teacher in India.
Absolutely.
So as the sector gets more valued, capital will flow in. More capital will flow in because when sector is valued, teachers will be valued. See the healthcare space, I always give an example of health sector when I'm in the education sector. So take All India Medical Sciences, take a private hospital. Only that hospital succeeds where there is a teaching school, where there is a nursing school, where there is a whole ecosystem of 5 to 6,000 people on a campus. So that's the way we have to look at education. If we can look at healthcare as a business, and healthcare has such volumes that is becoming sustainable business today with the backing of Ayushman Bharat, with the backing of so much funds available. And I'm sure in the education sector, there is no dearth of funds. If you look at CSR, even 10% of CSR flowing in can take care of a lot of teacher well-being. So I'm sure together we'll make this happen. And show me spirit, the man who saw tomorrow will go on. So now he's talking of the ideal of IB. He's giving you an example of an exemplar or a preferred system. As far as learning systems goes, Chomi sees the IB as the ideal. He feels that the system is attentive to the quality of teaching. Under the IB system, teacher trainers are sent to schools to ensure that, and he thinks that the government also needs to follow this. The ICSE and CBSE boards do conduct similar workshops and teacher development programs, but he feels they have to be more broad-based and on a bigger scale. I'm sure you agree on this, Aditya. IB is not about knowledge that is handed down by teachers and the system. This is what I mean an inquiry-based learning system. IB is more of a facilitator for life skills and attributes like resilience, curiosity, and lifelong learning. And this makes IB the differentiator. To sum up, and Shomi believes that a good school needs to pay its teachers well and provide a conducive atmosphere for learning. And a good teacher cannot just be good academically. Wonderful message for teachers. They must be honest and righteous individuals who teach and create good citizens. The job of a teacher is an all-encompassing one because what they're essentially doing is preparing a child for life so that the child is ready to face the world. Needless to say, it's a demanding role. That's the reading for today. We complete chapter 5. Thank you, Manisha. You're such a beautiful girl. I'm glad you will have something for us to reflect. Manisha, can you just share screen and tell us where can we go for reflections? That'll be a big favor to us. We have so many points of contact. People are always asking us that schooleducation.com is complex, and I've been trying to decode that here. You'll do us a big help to tell us where we can go to follow Shomi Das and his work, even if I don't want to buy a book, because we don't want buying a book also to come in the way of learning. So could you please show us where we can go to follow up on this conversation? Where do we have something more to make us think? Where do you think we can go by just simply reading a blog post a week, as little as that? And I'm telling teachers, please read. Read up or ship out. I made a new phrase today. Aditya, read up or ship out. A hard call, Aditya, isn't it?
Absolutely. But that's true.
Read up or ship out. It's like saying shape up. It's like saying shape up. So I said, read up. Just on that call, maybe one teacher wants to come up and tell us something about it. Why don't one of you walk up and take the mic from me and tell us about something about this session, how you feel about it? I don't want this to be seen as a preaching session. Would anyone like to come across here and talk? Just a minute. Tell us about your experience, the empathy Shomi had with the teachers, and why you teach. Anyone? Show courage. We have to uplift the teachers. It starts with you here. You'll have to come here behind me and read and talk about it. What you feel. Otherwise, I'll call the youngest person because that's where the future of India lies. Come abroad. Come on, come on, come on. The youngest person is most daring. She'll come because she's not risked her life to become a teacher, and I love her for that. God bless you. Here is the future of India and this young girl from the banks of Varanasi. Let's see what she says to Shomi and his life. Thank you. Please come over, ma'am. So here is this future of India, a spent force and a power boom. Here.
Sir, I attended both the session while reading and the teacher session as well. What I understood is that for a teacher, it is not a profession. Not just a profession, we have to live teaching. Like, it's not just a classroom where we have to teach. It's a joy of giving to the students.
Kushi, we can't hear you. You have to speak in the mic, sorry.
The chapter, I understood. While reading the chapter, Yes, so while reading the chapter, I understood that it's a part of administration as well as the educators to work together to come to a conclusion if both of them want something good for our children. So it's not just a job of an administration, it's a responsibility of an educator as well. How he works, how he or she creates the environment, and how administration helps them. So it's like a teamwork, which I believe. So both the sessions
Absolutely.
were different, but yeah, very alike.
So Aditya, I have a message for you. This is a hard message for Sunbeam Schools. There's too much competition here and there's very little collaboration. So we are hoping that with what we are doing, we will bring the schools closer and not compete with each other. Every school wants to show they can do things better. I love that. Competition helps. But I think world has changed because competition is bad business. Collaboration is great business. If Tata and Starbucks combine, I'm not championing a brand, it shows how even the most competitive companies come together for a good product or a good service. So I think at our end, as we are Sunbeam One, it's fantastic, absolutely. So perhaps we have to rethink, do we need inter-school competitions? Do we need intra-school competitions? Because perhaps in our quest for getting numbers and inter-school and intra-school, we perhaps sometimes are not able to do what we aspire to do. Over to you, Aditya, your minute on that.
Yeah, no, actually, our thought process is that for us, the numbers are a strength, because even the inter-school competitions has certainly raised the bars across schools. Everyone aspires to be at the top, and that has really pushed not just our students, even our teachers. Today, if you really want to be recognized as someone who's doing well, like we have an I Am Sunbeam Awards. I don't know whether you've heard about it. The I Am Sunbeam Award is a nomination-based award that we give every year on the 5th of September, where a teacher has to submit its portfolio. And last year, to what I saw, to this year, the aspirational value of I Am Sunbeam has gone up in leaps and bounds. And I see teachers working throughout the year. So if that, obviously, it's a very healthy competition. It's at the end of the day, you stand and clap because ultimately Sunbeam wins wherever it wins. But it raises standards. I do agree with you. Collaboration, but that's the fulcrum. Our precept is the same. What we do across the board is the same. when we travel across branches, the moment we see something good happening, a good practice is actually taken back to another principal and said, look, this is a good practice. Now do it the way you want to. And possibly that practice which was seen in a branch comes up in another branch in a much better way. So yeah, that's the spirit of collaboration. But competition is also what has helped us raise standards across our schools.
Brilliant. So if you look at these two words, competition and collaboration, they make us. But collaboration comes before competition in the dictionary. I think that is a great compromise the dictionary makes for us. Collaboration first, competition after that. But ultimately, why? Because we are Sunbeam 1. We are not Leher Thara, we are not Mughal Sarai, we are not Bhagwanpur, but we are Sunbeam 1.
Absolutely.
And I really love that. I like your young people who aspire to make Sunbeam 1. And I think Sunbeam 1 is perhaps the future for teachers. And I love the way teachers go out of Sunbeam, come back to Sunbeam, to the warmth of the sun. And God bless everyone at the Sunbeam School. It's 6:15. We are very particular about our time in the masterclass. So before we sign out, I must hand over to Manisha, who is our first love at the Teachers Academy and the only love, because that's the only one who's there on our team. That's the beauty of the model. And rest of you are all on WhatsApp and Telegram and wherever you are. But you are very important to us, as important as Manisha or Jugjeev sir or Kunal or anyone, because we exist because of you. Over to you, Manisha. Yeah, so Manisha has got on the screen the Teachers Academy. And if you scroll up this page on the Teachers Academy, there is a post of 30th September. I'm sorry, I can't pull Manisha into the audio because of technology limitation. So I have taken the mic back. So here is a post. Manisha, please scroll up the 30th November post. So Aditya, this is chapter 3. There is one on 7th December also. So you will find that on the blog. So if you scroll up, a little recap of the session will be there. Points which we have talked about, which will come from our notes, which are under preparation at the moment, and what we are going to read next week below that. Now, what we expect from teachers. Now, this is where I come to you and all the teachers here. Below this is a comment space. That's where your reflection has to go. We're not asking you to submit anything to us in writing in any form. If you can type a WhatsApp message, the least you can go there and say, thank you, Sandeep sir, we love you. Thank you, everyone. So that's the Teachers Academy. And before we go, Aditya, we must mention the Teachers App relationship. It's a newfound love. We love Bharti Airtel Foundation. I hope they're listening. They'll give some money to the foundation, Learning Forward India Foundation. Well, money is the last thing they'll give us, but the content we have, they rob us. So this is competition and collaboration in jest. I hope they don't throw me out of Bharti Airtel Foundation for this public comment. But anyway, fun. That's a class, Aditya. Don't you agree that?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Would you have to have a last word? Because you are my host. Back to you for the word of thanks.
You know, since you are an influencer, there's something last line that I want to say is I think so in the book the chapter that we just finished, it says that IB is more a facilitator for life skills. I personally feel that we are expecting teachers to teach competencies, but nowhere in our curriculum do we implicitly teach that. So until and unless I feel there is a change in our curriculum and we teach students these life skills, it's highly unlikely that the teachers of tomorrow will also be any different from the teachers that we are producing right now.
Thank you, Paul, sir. Would you like to come in from New Delhi? You are at the Picky
everyone.
There and send some rice for us.
Yeah. Thank you for taking me in. Actually, just to the conference, something I heard and I liked it. In England, they showed us a study, and it is said that England has discarded the competency-based model, and they have started some other model because the whole learning process was not to the level, the international standards. So in India, we are talking about competency level now. So are we taking up something which other countries discard over the period, and then we come up with the competency? I don't know. That is something debatable. So I was just, when you're telling about the competency, that's what immediately came to my mind.
It's a very nice thing what you said, but please understand one thing. It's not competencies. It's about character and citizenship. And collaboration is a way of life. So these are not competencies, these are ways of life. So if you just describe it differently, that we need good communication, don't we? We need collaboration, don't we? We need good character, don't we? And we need citizenship. So that's the basic. So let's not get away by the jargon, but what is very important is the character and citizenship part. So if character and citizenship part are not taken as competencies, what then? I think we should leave this thought here, and Manisha should actually put down competencies or incompetencies. And it reminds me of a book, The Psychology of Military Incompetence. It's a beautiful book by Dixon. So as we talked of soldiers in this chapter and we talked of the army, maybe one of you should read The Psychology of Military Incompetence. So Aditya, one more book added to your shelf. And sorry, I belong to an illustrious family of 101 years of book selling. So books come to my mind in every sentence. Thank you all. It's been a wonderful evening. We'll now go offline and spend the next 10 minutes with the lovely teachers who made effort to come all the way. So we are going to end this session. It is the first historic session on YouTube Live. Paul sir, we screened it, despite all the challenges. So
thank you. I would like to thank you, Aditya sir, in a special way for that.
No. Bless you, sir. Thank you,
Aditya sir.
Jai Hind.
Thank you so much, Jay.
Thank you.